this week's episode, we'll be discussing the critical reception for one of the most anticipated N64 re-releases of all time.
Plus, one of the most beloved JRPG titles gets its own National Day in Japan.
And could Nintendo be readying Advance Wars to deploy to the Switch in the near future? I'm Barry.
And I'm Anthony, and this is episode 84 of the Retro Gaming Dads podcast, the weekly podcast for everything retro and retro-inspired. We've actually had the opportunity to play a few games this week, haven't we?
Yeah, I've only really been playing two, and one of them's not really retro. I've been playing a lot of Division 2, actually.
Right. Oh, you carried on with it after playing the weekend?
Yeah, I've been playing it. I haven't got a clue what I'm supposed to be doing next. I've completed the game, so it's all endgame stuff. There's so many new systems, and I haven't got a clue what I'm doing anymore. I'm just running around shooting people.
Have you been going on hunting those targets, whatever?
Yes, I did figure that out, though. So I've done 3 of the 4 targets. It's okay. I feel like I'm not making any progress, though.
No, that's the thing. I think if we're going to play it, we still haven't completed the tower, or whatever that is.
Oh, sorry, I did play the tower. I had to start again from the bottom. I got up to about floor 15, 17. I can't quite remember what it was. That gets quite difficult, though.
Is that we have to restart it because it's getting hard, or?
No, it just set me back at floor 1. Apparently, I know I've played it in the past, but apparently according to the game, I don't know if it resets or anything, like there's a wipe. How about you? What have you been playing?
Again, I've been playing Hi-Fi Rush. Still enjoying the game. Fantastic. Well, we also played Halo over the weekend quite a bit, which we've been enjoying. And then I've also played Human Fall Flat with Samson. So last night I had about a good hour and a half before I had to do anything when S was out with Ash and Rosie. So me and Samson started to hop on Human Fall Flat, and that was quite nice to do with him. Trying to think of anything else.
Well, thankfully, I've avoided playing Animal Crossing with Elliot this week.
What do you mean you've avoided? What, has he wanted to play with you this week?
No, he hasn't been playing it. When he's playing it, though, he wants me to play it as well. So it kind of ties me up from doing other things, even if all he's doing is digging holes everywhere.
Is that also because he wants to invade your island?
I've told him that my island's such a backwater place that planes don't even fly there, so that's why he can't come and visit. And every time he looks over on mine, he goes, "Oh, your island looks like it's getting good now. Can I come visit?" And I go, "No, we still haven't got an airport." As I go to the airport to fly to his island.
He'll catch on soon.
Yeah. Thankfully, he's got his mother's brains.
Never know. You're brave, aren't you?
Yeah. Or foolish. One of the two.
But hang on a second. You said you've been playing 2 games. What was the other game you were playing?
Well, the other one was GoldenEye. I've been playing that on the Xbox.
Nice. Because after that only came out last Friday came out?
27th of January that came out. And I can't remember what day that was because I can barely remember what day today is.
How's it playing? Are you enjoying it? Does it live up to your memories and nostalgia?
It does. And just a modern control scheme makes a huge difference to the game. However, it's not gone unscathed by the critics online.
Okay. Yeah, I did see a few bits of the critics going after it. So what they're necessarily saying, because, I mean, it's an old game on a modern console. So how is it living up?
Yes, I think what it is the Xbox and the Switch games aren't feature comparable. So the Switch has online play just due to the way the Switch emulator works for the N64. It allows people to play it online, but they'll still see all 4 screens in split screen as if they were playing locally.
Yeah.
The Xbox has no online play at all. Just 4-player local. That's the most you can get.
I can kind of understand that, though. It could have been a lot more work, and they just kind of wanted to get the game on the console, I guess.
Well, I'll touch on that in a minute, but with Perfect Dark, they did it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So, Perfect Dark, very similar sort of game. They went through the effort of putting that in. On the Nintendo Switch version, though, the controls are as they were on the N64. At least the Xbox version has new modern controls.
Yeah, can you imagine trying to play that on the Switch with those controllers? You've got 2 Switch controllers, yet it's N64 style.
Yes, which for a lot of new players, that's got to take a bit to get your head around because we're so ingrained to very similar control schemes for first-person shooters nowadays.
Well, it's very rare you'll come across a game that doesn't use dual analog.
Yes.
Well, I don't think any games do nowadays.
Certainly no first-person shooter.
No.
So there's slight differences between the two. However, they've not really done anything to improve the game beyond that. Now, on the more powerful hardware, especially on the Xbox, the frame rate stays up at 30 frames per second a lot more consistently than it ever could have hoped to do on the N64, especially when explosions are going off. It's
Yeah.
still not perfect, though. I do feel like sometimes there is a little bit of slowdown, like a little stutter. And I have seen people saying that because it's in 4K, you can actually see the seams in the geometry
Okay.
where you've got two polygons touching to make like a hill or
Yeah.
something. You can actually see through it because it's so sharp, that edge.
That it just kind of breaks.
So that kind of takes you out of the game a little bit, which is apparently how the N64 version was, but because you were watching it on your old blurry CRT TV at
Yeah.
320p or whatever resolution it was running at,
You wouldn't notice it, so it wasn't
you
a
couldn't
massive
notice
issue.
it. Yeah, you just would never have picked it up. But in 4K, apparently it's a lot worse. It's there a little bit on my Xbox Series S, which assumes running in 1080p.
Yeah. So after talking about it last week, because we spoke about Rare Replay and about why it was only going to the digital side, not to the physical side, Rare actually decided to release a statement to address it because, it didn't make sense to people why they weren't doing it. And they explained that it was due to the differences between the physical and digital licenses. And that makes sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to me, though.
Why?
Why would the physical version not be allowed to have this game inserted into it, but the digital version would?
There's got to be some sort of license difference between digital and physical version.
Well, that's what they're saying, but why would there be a license difference between being able to put it into a physical or a digital version of the exact same game?
I don't know. I'm sure if we went looking into it and seen the legality, we'd be like, oh yeah, that's it exactly. But nothing's ever straightforward, as we know. As we know, with the current mergers going on now.
Oh, it's not, but I've known digital versions losing content that was in a physical version.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of games where it's maybe had a certain song on the soundtrack on the disc, but the digital version had to remove it because they no longer had that license. But I've never seen it work in reverse, where they can't patch the physical version up to meet what the digital version is offering.
Just to help me out and figure this out, if they were to release it on the physical version, would that actually just be a digital part of the physical? When you when you put
Yes,
disc in,
it'd
download
just
the
be an
game,
update.
it'd just be a digital update that just sits there.
Yes.
So technically, it's actually still a digital game.
Yeah, the game would still be digital. It's not as if it's going to come round and like etch it into your Blu-ray
Yeah.
disc for you. So it would just be a software update.
No, that makes sense because it will still be a digital game, unless there's something that says they can't change what's on the disc. I don't know.
Well, I've never seen them not be able to do it for other games that have come out on both physical and digital media.
But they have apologized for the inconvenience caused, so they have said sorry.
I know, but I feel like they're trying to make it impossible for you to actually own this game.
Makes sense.
So on the Nintendo Switch, you cannot own this game. There is no way for you to buy and own this title. You can only, I guess you'd say, rent it by signing up for Nintendo Online expansion. On the Xbox side, the only way you can own this game outside of Game Pass is to buy the digital version of Rare Replay.
Yeah.
So that is the only way to buy and own this. And even then, it's a digital copy of the game.
Yeah, so you can't buy the game itself. It's the whole game you have to buy. So the whole replay, sorry.
Yes, you have to buy the whole of Rare Replay, which, in all fairness, is great value, but you might just want GoldenEye. You might not care about Banjo-Kazooie, Jet Force Gemini, Joust, Saberwolf, and everything else that's on there.
Yeah.
And the other thing people are unhappy about is the leaked version of GoldenEye for the Xbox 360 looks so much better than this. This is just the N64 game. And it looks like an N64 game.
Do you reckon that's partially down to laziness? Because obviously if there was an unreleased version of 360 game, either they had issues trying to get that sorted out and ported over to the Xbox Series, so they just went, stuff it, we'll just grab this across.
I don't see why not, because a lot of the games on Rare Replay already are Xbox 360 versions.
Yeah, so as I said, maybe it's just down to laziness.
I don't think it's down to laziness, because they had the game practically finished.
Yeah.
and it had a lot more features in it. I would imagine it would have done a lot better had it been the Xbox 360 like remaster of the N64 game.
Don't know. Maybe they're testing the waters with this one. They'll be like, "Here's the 360 version."
No, I can't see them doing that.
No, I can't either. But Xbox isn't like that.
This is only my guess. So they needed to get Nintendo on board.
Yeah.
And the only way they done that is Nintendo probably wanted this to be one of the games to push the online expansion pass.
Got you.
However, that meant it needed to be that original N64 game, which meant that Microsoft couldn't come out with a much superior version of the same game. Because why would you get it on the Nintendo Switch if you could get a much better version of it on the Xbox 360?
Exactly. The Switch doesn't want to get stuffed over. They want to have the same version, or they want the better version, not for the Xbox to have it.
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily want the better version. They just happen to get a better feature out of it, online play, just because of the way their emulators sell.
Nintendo was not going to be losing out on this.
Yeah, they do not want the inferior version.
No.
Yeah, they definitely wouldn't want it, because this is meant to sell the premium online service. And I think that's the reason. They couldn't use the Xbox 360 version on the Xbox One and Series, just because they needed to get it as comparable with the Switch version. And I don't think we'll ever see that other version.
No, but one thing you've got to think is, look, it's finally on more recent consoles. It's made a comeback after years and years of people asking for it, and it's been speculated. It's here and playable in a certain form. But what I quite like is the fact that you can look and compare your stats to someone else on the Xbox. And, well, someone in our office compared his stats with yours for a mission, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
It
I had a
took you a
look.
minute.
I did not complete that mission in 7 minutes. I done it in like 2.
I know, but it came out of like, I think he was speaking to you and he was like, you know, he looked at how many bullets you fired. He said you fired 55 bullets in the mission. He's like, oh, that's, you know, that's really low. He looked, he fired over 800 bullets. He's like, well, what was I doing?
Wherever he was doing, it didn't go well for him. That's all I can guess.
Maybe just couldn't hit anyone.
It's still a good game. And as I've said multiple times, I would never go back to playing this on the N64. But
yeah,
the inclusion of modern controls is sufficient to make this an enjoyable game again.
So, obviously, after speaking about a game bringing back nostalgia, we've got another game that has also brought back nostalgia. We had the Armored Core preview. Today it was actually, in fairness.
Yeah, and this was an absolute disappointment because we were led to believe that this would be a 1-hour preview event.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was not. It was like a 20-minute show.
No, unfortunately, this was mistranslated, and everyone, including us, never thought to go back to the original Japanese announcement and retranslate it to make sure that's what it said. And it wasn't a 1-hour event, it was barely a 20-minute event. And there was no new footage, no new content, and no additional information shown above what we already knew.
No, because they had a interview with someone, and it was just useless answers back. They asked him a question, and he answered that question with a question.
Yeah, so it was the producer of Armored Core 6, and a lot of his answers were very non-answers. Like, what are you doing to make this more accessible for newcomers? Oh, we're putting accessibility options in for newcomers. Okay, so what are they? The only bit of information that we did actually get was a massive disappointment because he's confirmed that they will not have co-op in the story mode. It is strictly a single player affair.
I don't see why. I'm basically disappointed because
Absolutely.
I'm playing 4 and 5 in co-op. 5 especially because all their missions were co-op playable. And it was absolutely fantastic to go in with someone else and just take out this massive, I don't know, flipping skyscraper bosses with someone else. And you can't do it now. That's it. Supposedly you can't at the minute. It's just an arena what they're saying so far. But why? Why?
I have no reason to think why they would change it. I've been playing Armored Core in co-op since Armored Core 2 on the PlayStation 2 with Phil.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't the entirety of the story mode. It was like selected co-op missions. And I remember finding that, well, Phil, instead of blowing the crap out of each other, we can actually work together, which usually devolves into us blowing the crap out of each other.
Yeah, always happens in the game. I think, well, me and you did it in Halo and Phil ended up killing us both.
There is multiplayer, but it is an arena-based event, so I'm guessing it's just like 1-on-1, maybe 2-on-2 or something like that. That's not what I want. I'm not that much into competitive games anymore.
I'd really, really like that to be wrong.
Yes, I absolutely hope it's wrong, but I have no reason to believe it is. I'm hoping that perhaps the story mode might be one player, but maybe they will have separate co-op campaign or co-op missions that you can go on, perhaps.
Yes, similar to, like you said, Armored Core 2, similar to Daemon X Machina as well, that sort of thing.
Yes, although I'll be honest, I think that's probably me just a bit of wishful thinking.
No, gouge my heart. Honestly, I'm dying inside because we are both so looking forward to this game. If they were to remove multiplayer missions, it's absolute shame.
I will still get it for single player, but
Yeah, so will I.
I will be disappointed and constantly thinking this would have been a really cool point in multiplayer.
Yeah. Now, one thing they have said about Armored Core 6 is that it's actually not got anything to do with Armored Core 5. So it's not a sequential game. It doesn't follow the story at all. It's its own standalone story, which, I mean, I think why not.
Which is not uncommon for the series.
No. If you think about the sort of story, you're just literally going in, fighting with someone else, and taking it as massive mechs.
Well, yeah, that's essentially what you'd be doing in this. Every game's had its own backstory and they have the same sort of themes to them. Very few of them are direct sequels to another one. They're very much like something like Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy VIII does not carry on from Final Fantasy VII, but has a lot of the same topics.
I'm just really disappointed. I wanted to see more mech information. I wanted.
Well, we planned on watching this together and doing like a reaction to it, didn't we? And I was trying to find the video and like I just keep finding this 18-minute long video. And I had a look and that was the video. I was like, oh, well, that's a disappointment.
We've had a disappointment, but we've actually got some good news now coming up next.
Yeah, this is just following on from a game that we mentioned before Christmas. Hot Wheels Unleashed is finally got a date for when it is coming to Game Pass.
I was really looking forward to this game. It just looks like a really fun racing game. And especially for Sam and Asher, I know they would both quite enjoy playing this game. So that's why I've been excited to try it out. Did Elliot get it for Christmas?
Yes, so Elliot got this on the Switch for Christmas. And it's not as kid-friendly as I initially expected.
Oh, in what respect?
It's quite a difficult racing game. So even on the earlier tracks, I don't know if it's the rubber banding or whether the AI is just good at keeping up with you. But I always felt like I couldn't just blast through and dominate the match. I constantly had cars right up behind me. And this game is full of microtransactions and unlockable currencies to unlock tracks for multiplayer.
This game is a sort of game that would attract kids. The last thing you want is all microtransactions and that, because sometimes they'll see a pop-up or they'll see, oh, I want that car.
Yes.
Go and click on it.
Exactly.
Oh, you can't, you're going to pay for it.
Shows you all the cars. So Elliot was looking through it. And we'd only unlocked a few cars. So when you win races, I don't know if you get random cars or if it's like set cars for certain races that you win. At the end, you'll get 2 or 3 loot box type items, and each one will contain a car. So I'll say, I don't know if it's random because I've only played through it the once. However, we went on to multiplayer, and even though we'd done like 5 tracks in the game, we only had 1 track we could play in multiplayer because we had to get coins to unlock anymore.
So were they coins? Could you earn them throughout single player? And then
I think so, because we already had some coins, just not enough to unlock a lot of the tracks. And on top of that, it shows you the cars you've got, then the cars you haven't unlocked yet are just silhouetted out. But then all the DLC cars are shown as if you can select them. And then you click it and you go, oh, we'll take you to the store. Do you want to purchase it? So I'm there going, no, Elliot, you need to pick these 5 cars here. And he's going, but I want to go in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles party wagon or the Mystery Machine or the Batman car or whatever else was
Yeah.
on the monster truck. And I'm like, no, you have to pay real money for that. We can't go there. He goes, oh, but I want to go there. We're like, trying to explain that
That's a
to a
shame.
4-year-old.
They shouldn't be there unless you buy them. They shouldn't be sat in there.
Yeah, the racing in the game is fun. However, I feel it is quite predatory.
That's unfortunate for a game that I've actually seen it advertised quite a lot. And again, it's one that parents would pick up for kids to then have that sort of interaction in their face constantly as they try to do the game is not a good experience, especially for the parents.
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's not great, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
not as good news as I was hoping, really.
I say I haven't had a massive play on it. I've only had like an hour or so, but that's my initial experience with it.
I know, but microtransactions. Not a fan of microtransactions. Never have been. Never will
No,
be.
and I say everything is, you've got to collect your cars in what appears to be like a gashapon style manner. You need to earn coins to unlock tracks for multiplayer. Plus, there's all these other cars that are mixed in with yours, which, if you select them, takes you to the store to purchase them as extra DLC.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd say, considering this is obviously a child's game, it seems very predatory. And I don't like that for a game aimed at children.
I get it because I'm thinking about you've got Rocket League, and obviously within that there is microtransactions. You can buy coins, but that is not something that's in your face. That's something where you'd have to go to a different tab or into a different option to see it. Whereas in this, it sounds like it's in their face as an option there to just click on.
Well, yeah, it's in your car selection screen. The cars you can't use are there in your face.
Yeah, that's the thing. If they put it into another tab, another option, that's not as bad. Then they won't see it. They won't be like, oh, I want that one. Click on it. So separate it out. Make it so it's not in the child's face for them to be clicking on and then it's asking for money.
For Christmas, Elliot actually got 2 racing games. So we got Hot Wheels, and the other one he got was Wreckfest. So in comparison, Wreckfest, there's DLC cars in that, but you have to go to the tab to actually purchase those cars.
Yeah.
When you're starting a race, you only get to see the cars that are available to you. And if you want to buy a specific car, providing you've done the event that unlocks the vehicle to purchase, you just use the money you gain from the rest of your matches to directly purchase that car. It's not a randomized, will you get it, won't you get it kind of thing.
Yeah, so that's the freedom option to do all.
Gameplay wise, Hot Wheels, as I say, it's a good game, but I just don't like everything that surrounds that gameplay.
No, I get it. I do get it.
So much for that being positive.
Yeah, I know.
Anyone who's got Game Pass, as of the 7th of February, you'll be able to download this. Try it yourself. Tell me I'm wrong. I might be wrong. It's happened once or twice before.
I'll give it a go. I'll let you know how I feel.
Right, before we carry on with the episode, as always, we'd like to take a moment to ask for your help. If you're enjoying this episode, please can you just take 1 minute to leave us an honest review on your favourite podcasting app.
Alternatively, if you're able to, you can join our Patreon for as little as £1 per month, where you will receive an ad-free version of the podcast and even get a shout out in our next episode.
So, while we're talking about games getting releases, and massive disclaimer, this is only a rumour, but it looks like Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp might be getting ready to deploy on Nintendo Switch.
I mean, I guess it's nice to hear after the indefinitely delayed state it went into, I guess, because it went to release it and unfortunately it was just obviously during the war and Nintendo did the onward thing of kind of indefinitely delaying it in the meantime.
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily that there was the war, it's that a lot of the plot of the game is very similar to what has happened in the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Yeah, so it's nice to see that we've got a TBC launch date, so it's a possibility we could be seeing it soon. But like you said, it's a rumor.
Well, the TBC is what it's been set to for the last year and enough. So to be confirmed, it's just had no release dates. However, a lot of retailers, including Amazon in Mexico, Canada, Walmart, EB Games, and Best Buy, have all seen pre-order codes come up for the game, which kind of implies that it might be getting ready to launch. And this is unconfirmed, but apparently a couple of Best Buy stores have even got standees, do you know, those big cardboard like
Oh yeah,
displays that you
like
get for
cut
games
out.
that says Advanced Wars 1 and 2 available now.
Okay,
And they've been sent them in the last week or so.
that's it. Unless they've got it and they put it out preemptively, which I kind of doubt.
Well, for Nintendo to actually send them out, they must be getting ready for it to come out. So this is just POS that apparently. So point of sales, they're saying that they've received, not that they've got out in the stores. However,
Yeah.
I have noticed that no one has been able to provide a picture of them. I don't know how much I trust whether or not these stores have actually got these standees.
Well, I guess the thing we do is just sort of watch this space.
I reckon if Nintendo do announce this, then they just got to shadow drop it, Nintendo Direct, and go, "Oh, Advance Wars 1 and 2 now available." I don't think they'll do a big launch for it.
Do a big sun dance.
In all fairness, this was never a game that was going to get a massive push for promoting it in all like sort of media, TV, and stuff like that. It's
A
a very
reboot of a
niche game now.
older game.
Well, it was a very niche game on the Game Boy Advance.
But this is one that you want to pick up, isn't it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have Advance Wars, and I enjoyed them. I enjoyed them for what they were, but they were very basic, and I would not pay full price for this. £30 is absolute maximum I would pay for this bundle. And even then, I'd have to think about it.
Did we know the price of this?
No, we don't know the price, but
No, I didn't think so.
I don't know why. I have a feeling it's a full price release. So maybe last year we had a price, or at least confirmation that it might have been full price.
Like what, £50 to £60?
I don't believe this is a budget release. Let's face it, Nintendo never do budget releases, or very rarely.
No, that's true. Even their online sales is quite often not that much of a sale.
Oh, online sale. Get Mario Kart 8, the 10-year-old karting sensation, for $59.99.
Yeah.
They're actually saying that. The Nintendo online sales, such a nightmare to try and figure out what games are in it. Because you go, oh, let's see what's on sale. And it goes, we've found 2,000 results. And you're like, oh my God. And there's no decent way to go through them.
To easily filter it and...
Yeah.
And so you're there going through line by line. It takes absolutely flipping ages.
Yeah,
you
go
for
through and
you
go,
want.
do you know what? I'll filter it by genre. Let's pick RPG. Let's see what RPGs that I need on the Switch, because I haven't already got like a mountain of them to go through. And it goes, oh yeah, first result, Doom Eternal. And you're like, no, that's not an RPG. It's got an RPG in it, but it isn't an RPG.
Couldn't be more wrong.
Yeah. Well, let's move on from Nintendo and let's jump over to Microsoft.
Actually, it's the first Microsoft thing, isn't it? Oh no, sorry, GoldenEye. Going across to Microsoft, Xbox Series X and S is unfortunately getting a price increase in Japan. However, I'm jealous of these prices, if this is true.
Yeah, so this is following on from the price increase we had for India a couple of episodes ago. They've confirmed that each console is going to go up by about 5,000 yen, which is roughly £30. But when we went on the Microsoft website to see how much these consoles now cost, they seem very cheap. Yeah.
Oh, very
so
cheap.
I would imagine they're going to have to pay tax on top of these. The Xbox Series X will now cost 55,000 yen, which is about £350, or I believe roughly $450. And the Xbox Series S will cost 33,000 yen, which is about £210. Now, for anyone keeping track, that's £140 cheaper than the two equivalent models in the UK.
Now, even if there was VAT on top of this, it can't be more than, what, 20%?
Assume it's same as in the UK. It bring the Xbox Series S up to the price that we pay, about £250.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not too bad.
And it would bring up the Xbox Series X to what? Another £60, £70 on top of that. Actually, not too far away.
$425.
Yeah, about 420. That's not actually a million miles away from what we pay, so maybe they do have to pay tax.
But we were discussing about the low price in Japan, and we were kind of speculating that maybe they've put the prices so cheap because they're trying to build their place within Japan.
Trying to actually sell some consoles.
Yeah. In all fairness, they've not done too bad so far.
But yeah, they're still dead last.
Yeah, but they had a massive boom one month, didn't they, with the Series S?
Yes, probably because you couldn't get a Switch or a PlayStation 5.
All right.
They try.
The Switches too are loved in Japan.
Oh yeah, there's nothing stopping the Switch, except maybe a successor.
Yes, which could be around the corner as well.
Or could be another 10 years. We never know with Nintendo.
No, not the slightest.
There is, unfortunately, rumours that more countries, including the UK, are going to see similar price increases.
Yes.
We did speculate that if the price did increase in the UK, it would probably be around about £30. We didn't think it'd go up much more than that.
It's tending to be the trend everywhere else at the minute.
So I could imagine the Xbox Series S will go to probably $279 and the Series X will go to $479. That's what I would imagine.
It's still the cheapest way to get into gaming, though.
Yeah, it is into high performance next gen gaming.
Oh,
because you gotta remember,
Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo is not high performance home console next generation gaming, according to the Federal Trade Commission. Was it FTC? Is that who said it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, sorry, Nintendo. I forgot I need to leave you out.
Sorry, Nintendo, you're not gaming. Right, and before we finish off this episode, should we go into some weird news also from Japan?
Yeah, honestly, I saw this and I thought, what the heck is going on? So, Japan has decided to declare the 31st of January as Final Fantasy VII Day. I would not have thought any country in the world would ever make a day dedicated to a game.
Well, if any country was going to do it, it was blatantly going to be Japan.
Oh, yeah, obviously. But why?
I don't know. Not only is this weird that they're officially dedicating this date to a game, but they're doing it to a particular entry within a series. It's not Final Fantasy Day, it's Final Fantasy VII Day.
I could get behind Final Fantasy Day a bit more. But yeah, like you said, why 7? Is the game that fantastic within the franchise? I mean,
it's certainly highly praised and the most well-known out the series. Arguably, it's probably not the best, though.
I know. I just think it's wacko. Absolutely wacko.
It is. It's really weird. So, for those that don't know, 31st of January, that specific date was chosen because that was the date that Final Fantasy VII released in Japan in 1997, which makes it just over 26 years old then.
I still don't get it. I don't think I will. I saw the news article, shared it with you, and I'm like, what the heck are they doing?
What are they drinking over there? You've got to admit, Final Fantasy VII, again, a single entry into a massive series, it's still going strong. Last year, we got a remake of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII.
Yep.
Later on this year, we're getting the second part of Final Fantasy VII Remake. And it's still arguably just as popular now as it was back in 1997, 1998. I keep looking at picking it up to play on my Steam Deck. And if it wasn't for the fact that the first part of the remake is £70 on Steam, I would probably have picked it up. But I ain't paying 70 quid for it.
Now, I'm not asking you to go down a rabbit hole. Please, please, please don't. But off the top of your head, how many remakes do you reckon it's had?
Remakes or re-releases?
Both. Sorry, both. Oh, remakes and re-releases.
So there was the PlayStation...
I'd just say over so much. So, over what, 20?
No, I don't think that many. I reckon there's probably like 3 remakes and it's been released, I'd probably say 6-8 times on different consoles.
And is that including Crisis Core in that as well?
Oh, no, sorry. I'm just on about Final Fantasy VII. Crisis Core, you can add another 2 in there. There was a movie, Advent Children.
Oh, yeah. I actually enjoy that movie.
There's a lot of content for it.
There is. But everyone remember, 31st January is Final Fantasy VII Day, but just for Japan only.
Tell you what, to celebrate it, I'll try and complete Final Fantasy VII before Final Fantasy VII Day 2024.
I don't see that happening. Got too many games to play.
Yes, I do. Right, well, I think that about wraps it up for this episode, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think it's been a quick episode, but we was hoping for more Armored Core. Sadly, not so much.
We were hoping for 100% Armored Core, and we were 101% let down. But with that, I'm Barry, and this is the end of this week's episode. If you'd like to find out more about anything mentioned, then please take a look at the show notes. We've been the Retro Gaming Dads, and we'll see you next time.